Alright, hey y'all, it's the Pedantic Skeptic, and I'm back. Um, so, I was away basically all summer for field work, throughout the western US, and we're done with our field work now. Um, Currently sick with a really bad bout of food poisoning, which is weird, because A, I don't eat all that much, B, I've been living on canned and, fucking dehydrated food for the last 3 weeks, and C, I just got back and I've been really sick, but I am going to make a series of videos that I'll probably just go ahead and have scheduled to premiere on the channel. So you'll see a series of videos over the next several days that were all recorded in the same session of me just chilling out here. Probably gonna record some stuff, and then I'm going to go and clean the garage. My energy is kind of coming and going, so I've been doing some tasks and taking a little while to sit down and rest because I have just had some really bad muscle weakness and really bad diarrhea. I'm trying to stay hydrated. It's easier said than done. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have some content made. Hey, 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 all. It is the Pedantic Skeptic here, and I think it's about high time I cover Shock of God. Well, so I've seen Shock of God's content before. I did make a video that I was going to publish to YouTube, but then I decided, you know what? I don't want to give him the attention, blah, blah, blah. But I've had a little bit of a change of heart. Now, for those of you who don't know Shock of God, he's kind of a whack-a-noodle. Okay? I call him a motorcycle theist. Now, for those of you who are a little bit less versed in how some of these people on YouTube behave, people like to make videos. I think I've published a few videos talking about why this is a dangerous thing to do, but they're called car theists, where they go in their car, sometimes driving, mind you, to rant about God and Jesus and this and that. People are doing it on TikTok now. People have done it on YouTube for a while. And, like, look, you're going to be really, really upset with yourself if you get into a fatal car accident with somebody. You know, you kill somebody else because you're not paying attention to the road. You're looking at your phone or your camera or whatever, chatting about Jesus while you're driving. Now, Shock of God does this sort of thing, but he uses a GoPro on a motorcycle, so we call him a motorcycle theist. He has this weird atheism challenge or something like that, where he's like, what is some evidence that proves atheism is accurate or whatever, which is kind of a non sequitur, because atheism is simply the rejection of a claim of, God being an existent real being, but whatever, to each their own. So I figured we'd look through some of his content and respond to it. I do feel bad for you guys. I'm gonna torture you a little bit, but let's see where this takes us. Alright, are we rolling? We are rolling. Alright. So, right off the bat, this guy is, pretty insecure about himself, I think, because he's got, like, just he's recording all these weird things like, here's why atheists love the stupid Barbie movie. Now, I haven't seen the Barbie movie. It's not my cup of tea. Poor atheists, they've been tricked into being fools. Hey, let's start with this. The question no trans person can answer. Okay, let me see. I'll answer it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Hang on, let me just make sure the volume... Okay.
Join us for another video. This is going to be a quick one.
This guy kind of reminds me of Snuffleupagus from the Sesame Street. Like, he's got this kind of like nasally stuffed nose voice. I don't know if it's because he's wearing like a helmet. I hope he's wearing a helmet when he's on a motorcycle. But I think he's taken too many hits to the head in his lifetime. But he has kind of a funny vocal quality, so bear with us.
This one's going to be a riddle. A riddle for the trans out there. You know, some people identify as trans.
Yes, some people do, myself included. So what you got for me?
Well, this is going to be a riddle for you. However, I cannot do this video on
Is he wearing 2 watches? Well, what's the need for that?
YouTube. So I'm going to introduce it here, and right below in the comment section, you're going to see the link to the full video that...
Why don't we just go directly to that? Because my ADHD is not going to, let's see. Oh, he's on Rumble now. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, join us for another video. This is going to be a quick one. This one's going to be...
For context, his videos are usually over an hour long, so 4 minutes and 16 seconds isn't too bad.
A riddle. A riddle for the...
Actually, let's skip ahead a couple seconds.
This is going to be a riddle for you. However, I cannot do this video on YouTube.
Well, it's a good thing we're not on YouTube right now.
So I'm going to introduce it here, and right below in the comment section, you're going to see the link to the full video that I'm doing right now, uncensored by, well, I got to say it, uncensored by the militant trans and homosexuals and lesbians.
So, the thing is, YouTube, as a private company, has the right to decide what is allowed on their platform. Now, I know... So basically, I'm a Democrat. This guy's probably a Republican. One of the biggest differences between Democrats and Republicans is that Democrats wet their pants about the First Amendment. Republicans wet their pants about the Second Amendment. Now, the First Amendment just means that the government can't come after you for what you say. But YouTube is a private company. It's a platform that has the right as its own entity to decide what goes on its platform. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody who runs YouTube is a gay, transgender, atheist, or anything like that. It just means YouTube has a set of expectations for what people say. Rumble is a little bit different. Rumble doesn't have as much censorship or blah blah blah, and so you're allowed to get away with more things on Rumble than you would on YouTube, and that's part of why Rumble exists.
Of YouTube. You know, there are things that you do, videos you do on YouTube that are Christian videos, that are truthful videos, but when those wicked trans moderators on YouTube see it, they don't...
Not every moderator on YouTube is trans.
Like it. When the homosexuals, the male homosexuals and the lesbians see it, they don't like it. But I got a riddle for anyone that identifies as trans, and I bet you can't answer it truthfully. But we're going to ask this question right now at the Rumble page, because YouTube will delete the video if I say what I'm about to say, even though it's truthful and it's moral. And
you know, I wonder if you should have both hands on the bars of the motorcycle, especially as he's accelerating to get on the highway.
Ethical, and I'm not using profanity. So go right below here in the comment section to see the riddle that I have for anyone that identifies as trans.
Okay.
This video is going to end in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. You should now be at the Rumble video. And here's the question. For those of you on Rumble, here's the question. Welcome to free speech. Okay, you know how we have these people that are mentally ill that identify as trans?
Yes.
These are men that want to pretend they're women or women that want to pretend they're men. And
I mean, it doesn't work exactly like that, but whatever. I do wonder though, like, why does he care so much about what somebody does in their private life?
when we ask them, well, why are you doing this? You're obviously a man because you were born with certain appendages.
And here we go. Somebody really, really obsessed with what a baby's genitalia look like. You know, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy had a telegram where he's looking at baby genitalia on a regular basis.
From birth, male sexual organs, and this shows that you're a man.
No, it shows you're a baby that is most likely male when born.
And the women were born with different sexual organs. And this shows that they're a woman. And they say, no, that has nothing to do with your sexual orientation.
It doesn't.
Nothing at all. Then here's the riddle. Those of you that identify as trans, why are you then having surgery as a guy to cut off your penis?
So, first of all, they don't cut off the penis. Second of all, not everybody elects to have the gender confirmation surgeries. There are plenty of people who do not actually go through with gender affirming surgeries. The thing that you have to remember is that people are allowed to express their gender how they wish to, and for some people, having genitalia that match up with the gender that they identify with is important and part of their gender expression. So, a little bit of an educational bit here. Nobody's saying that your genitals have nothing to do with your gender. What they're saying is that your genitals may not necessarily align with the gender that you identify with. And for some people, that may be distressing enough to cause them to go and get surgery. Now, gender affirmation surgery, bottom surgery specifically, oftentimes involves a reshaping of a penis to be a vagina. It's not being cut off, okay? And in the case of going from a vagina to a penis, basically what happens is muscle tissue is taken from somewhere else in the body and is sculpted and placed where it should be if it were a penis, and then a rudimentary penis. We don't have the, like, this isn't South Park where you can grow a penis on the back of a mouse. Like, that's not how that works. But there is a way to form a semi-functional penis out of muscle tissue, because a penis really is just a tube of muscle, blood vessels, a urethra, and skin. So that's really all that a penis is. And in utero, the penis and vagina start out as a very identical structure called the genital tubercle, which will eventually either elongate into a penis or not really grow any farther once it gets to a certain size, and the body grows around it, and that becomes the clitoris and the other parts of the vagina. It's a very complicated process in mammals, but before a certain point, fetuses, as far as their genitals, aren't different.
If the sexual organs don't matter, if they don't identify you as a man, and if you're a female, why are you getting your breast cut off?
Because for some people, having breasts is distressing. Not everybody who gets breast removal or reduction is trans, by the way. I've known plenty of cis women who, for health reasons, have their breasts either reduced or completely removed.
If they don't identify you as a woman, why are you guys doing surgery?
I mean, not everybody is. First of all, we're in America where not everybody can afford that kind of thing, but also not everybody feels the need for it. Actually. Alright. So, about 42 to 54% of transgender men receive gender confirmation surgery, and about 28% of trans women receive gender confirmation surgery. So that is not, it's less than half. I mean, even with the, transgender men between 42 and 54%, that's generally top surgery anyway. But, actually, let's look up bottom surgery. Okay. So, bottom surgery is between 5 and 13%. So again, it's not every trans person receives gender-affirming surgery.
If your sexual organs don't matter, why are you cutting it off?
Again, you're cutting off breast tissue, but also remember, people have the right to do that. And again, these surgeries aren't always just about gender affirmation. People get breast reductions because they have so much breast tissue, it's causing them physical pain. People get breast removals to reduce the risk of cancer and other diseases that can come from having so much breast tissue.
If it doesn't matter.
I feel like this guy just severely misunderstands the trans community. So let's find some of his other Let's watch the Bard movie thing. This is gonna be entertaining for me. It's 20 minutes, Jesus.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a pretty trail. I love the woods.
Join me in this awesome forest. They call this God's Forest. We're going to be going this way.
I never would have guessed based on the orientation of your bike.
And we're going to be taking the epic Yamaha R6. And we're going to be talking today about
oh, wow. That is a $15,000 bike. Didn't Jesus say something about, what's it called? Being humble and giving your money to the poor and the needy and not spending $15,000 on a bicycle?
how there's too many wussies in the world. I'll go to shake someone's hand, and you shake it, and it's like it's a guy's hand you're shaking, and it's like a limp noodle.
You know what else is a limp noodle?
And do you know they've done research that the man's handshake, the average male's handshake, is equivalent to the woman's handshake of 1935. So men are getting more wussy-ish.
I mean, there are reasons why people's muscle tone has declined over the past century. Part of it has to do with ultra-processed foods. Part of it has to do with just people being more sedentary and not building up their muscle strength. Like, I was out in the field for, 3 months, and, I don't have very good muscle tone, but I've got better muscle tone now. Like, I picked up a 50-pound bag of rocks the other day, and I just, fucking threw it over my shoulder like it was a pillow, and I'm like, wow, this is 50 pounds? This feels really goddamn light. I'm not complaining. It does mean I have to eat a little bit more because muscle tissue has a higher metabolic need than fat and skin and organ tissue and this and that, compared to, relative to its mass. So the more muscular you are, the higher your metabolic rate is, so you need to eat more, which, I don't have time for that. But, I say this as I sit at a computer. Well, right now I have food poisoning, but, let's just get on.
And so we're going to be talking about God's forest here. We're going deep into the forest.
I got deep into your mom.
This is amazing. Someone told me about this. I go, man, this is amazing. I got to put this on Rumble. Now notice I'm not putting it on YouTube. You're not going to be able to watch this full thing on YouTube because the admins of YouTube are trans, lesbians, male homosexuals, atheists.
I mean, I guess some of them are. I mean, like, let's just see. Yeah, let's see. I can't get a clear answer here, but I mean, with 38 million active users, you've gotta think there are gonna be at least 1 million admins. And out of 1 million people, you're gonna have several trans people, you're gonna have several gay people, you're gonna have several atheists, but not all of them are gonna be gay, trans, atheists.
They hate Christians.
I don't think they necessarily hate Christians. I mean, some of the gays and trans people are Christian.
With the passion. They will flag my Christian videos down, and this is going to be another video targeted to Christians. We need to be bold, but we are going to do this through God's forest. But we can't do it on YouTube, so you got to say bye, YouTube. Because YouTube is gay and lame, literally.
Yeah, so what? Like, YouTube, as its own platform, has the right to be how it wants to be. And if that leads to their demise, that's just the way it goes. But YouTube is pretty popular. So, like, you know, all those gay, Christian-hating atheists out there are doing something right, I guess.
Run by a lot of militant homosexual atheists.
How do you be a militant homosexual? You know, I don't want to think about that.
So go here to Rumble and continue with me as we go down God's forest. It is amazing. There's no houses around here for
I saw a mailbox as you were driving.
Miles. And we're going to go through here and talk about, as Christians, we're supposed to be as bold as lions. So say bye to gay and lame YouTube because they discriminate against Christians. Go right below the...
So actually, that's funny when he says bold as lions, because most predatory animals are actually more risk-averse than the herbivorous animals. Like, if a lion gets injured, it's going to starve to death. So lions are really careful about what prey items they go after, when they go after their prey, this and that. Herbivores are actually the real brazen, bold ones. You see this across all animal groups, generally. I mean, there's always going to be the exception in biology, but, you know, when it comes to whether something's, you know, herbivorous or carnivorous, you know, the herbivorous animals are really the ones taking the risks. They're really the ones that are, you know, walking out to water's edges where there could be a crocodile. They're really the ones that are, you know, not choosy about when they eat their meals, generally.
The video where it says show more, or in the comment section, and join me in God's forest. Excuse me. Join me in God's forest as we say bye-bye YouTube, gay and lame YouTube. I'll see you at Rumble. We're now entering God's forest. Now, for those of you at Rumble, this video is going to continue. For those of you on YouTube, it's done. Okay, guys, you know, I was reading Proverbs 28:1.
He really should stop looking down at the bottom of his motorcycle like that while he's driving it. You know, like, if you hit a sudden turn or something, you're going to crash right into a tree.
And let's start the video. Ugh. Lots of bumps here in God's forest.
Lots of bumps in your mom.
And Proverbs 28:1 says that the righteous are as bold as a lion. The righteous are as bold as a lion. But you know what? I see a lot of people that are afraid to speak out about different things. As I mentioned earlier, you know, a man's handshake, when you shake a man's hand, have you ever noticed some of these men that are...
This guy, like, we're almost 4 minutes into a video that's supposed to be about the Barbie movie, and he's just, like, not gone to the Barbie movie yet. You know, I don't know if this guy, like, ran out of his prescription for Adderall or what, but...
Just turning 18, 19, they've got these little wimpy, faggoty, feminine handshakes. It's like, squeeze the hand, be a man. You know, they just don't do it. And we got to teach these younger men to be a man. Don't be like a Barbie kin. We're going to talk about the Barbie movie. What a horrible movie. Do you know, well, let's not go all over the place here. Let's start here.
You know what's a good movie? Borat. I think everybody who is watching this video right now should pause the video, get really high, get naked, watch Borat, maybe eat some, like, kale chips or something and watch Borat, and then come back to this video here.
So, I saw a video on Rumble, and it was this dad with his two boys, and they were going down the stream, and there were like dead fish kind of going by along with the boat as the dad and his two sons were going down the stream. And what I found interesting is all the living fish were going upstream away from the stream.
If they're in the stream, they're not moving away from the fucking stream.
Away from the flow. And,
you mean against the flow?
And it's interesting that when Jesus talks about people that are not saved, he refers to them as dead, almost like the dead fish. You notice the dead fish just go with the tide, that people will go with what the world says and just go with it. It's mob rule. Whatever the mob says, rules. God is beautiful. Look at that. We're going to be coming out on some high-speed roads, but for now, we got to play it safe. Going through the forest here, might get hit by a deer.
No, you would hit the deer.
Watch for bears. I may have to put this on full throttle. You guys read that part in the Bible where the bears came out of the wood and ate up those atheist kids?
I don't think they were atheists. They got eaten up because they called a guy bald.
Those bratty atheist kids. The she-bear. Okay. You atheists know that passage. So, I was struck by this video of the fish going upstream. See, a living fish will fight against the tide.
It depends on the species of fish.
The dead fish just go along with it, and we really, in these last days, we need to be, as Scripture says in Proverbs, as bold as a lion. You know, remember when Peter was
Now, Pina.
preaching? The Holy Spirit guided them to go preach right in the temple, and
Oh, so Peter said they, them now, okay.
the law of that time, they had laws where you weren't allowed to go preach in the temple without the permission of the chief Jews. And you know the law, hey, here's the high-speed road. I think this is going to be great. The laws of that time forbade Peter to go into the temple, and so they arrested Peter, like, hey, you better not do this anymore. And he's like, nah, I'm still going to do it. Peter broke the law. Peter broke the law. So yeah, we're supposed to be submissive to government unless
Your mom is pretty submissive to me.
they tell us to disobey God's law. You know, YouTube is a lot like that. They don't
YouTube has the right to set rules about what their content is supposed to be. I don't know why this guy's so butthurt about it when he is doing just fine on Rumble.
want you talking about God's word. Here we go.
There are plenty of Christian YouTube channels that don't get their shit taken down on YouTube. You know, spend a couple of minutes on YouTube and you'll find them. Jesus Christ. Now, granted, if my channel ever becomes, like, more popular with more subscribers than it currently is, I probably will have to be careful with some of the words I use, because I may get in trouble for, you know, if I say this guy's a dumb cunt, for example, because he is a dumb cunt. Well, if I, you know, I have like, what, 30 some odd subscribers, whatever. If I get more popular, I probably can't say that.
You ready? Let's get some cool air in this motor. For 219 Fahrenheit.
What? Oh, the motor. I was gonna say, like, I don't think you'd be making a video if it was 219 Fahrenheit out there.
We'll get this cooled down. 216. I'm gonna guess go down about 189. Oh my gosh, the heat coming out of the motor is just frying my legs. 205. So they tell, hey, you're breaking the law here. You're not supposed to be preaching. He goes, yeah, I'm still going to preach. You know, YouTube was constantly taking down my Christian Bible videos, where I just tell the truth.
Oh, let me play a sad, sad song on the world's smallest violin.
Nothing hateful, very loving, as I'm preaching through the Word of God. But when you talk against the sin of homosexuality, the YouTube admins that are queers, gays, fags, homos, they don't like it. And they take the videos down. And you know, the other day I got an email, because now I'm telling people on my YouTube channel, go to Rumble. Rumble is so much better. You can say things that are true. You can talk about politics, religion. You can talk about how the COVID vaccines are killing people, which we all know. There's tons of evidence for it. And you could also talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. You want to see the very sinful, evil stuff on Hunter Biden's laptop? Look below this video. I'll put the link where you can actually see.
I feel like this is just going to be a Rickroll.
Hunter Biden's laptop. It is sick. The guy's a sick puppy. He even talks about, there's emails there, he talks about how him and his dad are getting bribe money. It's not Joe Biden anymore, it's Joe Bribin. So, you know the movie Barbie that's out? I was at the movie theater, and this little kid with her mother was coming out of the Barbie movie.
You know, I went and saw the Elemental movie, and I was like, I should have gotten like high off my ass. I went with some friends who had like grandkids, and so they were like 4-year-olds. But I did not enjoy like seeing that movie. I thought it was like the dumbest shit in the world. But like, I guess that appeals to little kids. Well, to each their own. Like, who gives a fuck?
And the little kid, she's probably like 10. She's holding a Barbie with her.
Okay, I mean, like, kids are all gonna do that. You know, she's not holding a Glock or anything like that. It's a fucking Barbie doll, so what?
And she says, this is the best movie ever, as she came out. That was
No, Borat's the best movie ever.
It's the best movie ever. 10 out of 10 out of 10, she said. Really? If any parent takes their kid to go see the Barbie movie, you should have your kids taken away from you and put in a good, wholesome, Christian family's home. Because in the Barbie movie, there's this woman that's a black woman.
Okay, where are you going with this?
That is the president of the United States, and the fake.
So, like, okay, a black woman's the president of the United States. Who gives a shit? I would be okay as long as she knows what the fuck she's doing. She's fine there.
Barbie world, and she says mother effer. She calls the men mother effers.
What, motherfuckers?
That's right. In the Barbie movie,
Okay.
there's a guy, let's not say trans, let's say what it really is, a pervert.
What is so perverted about being transgender?
Nincompoop. A mentally deranged person, a guy ID'd as a trans, we're just going to call him what it is. He's a nut. And he's dressed up as a woman in the Barbie movie.
Okay, and this is a problem. How? I mean, like, people are allowed to, like, have these, creative movies. Like, you don't have to watch the Barbie movie if you don't like the themes in the Barbie movie. Barbie's not something that appeals to me, so I didn't go see the movie, but, like, I'm not worked up about people who go and see the Barbie movie. It just doesn't bother me.
So the movie basically is a hate men.
What? No. Hang on a second. I'm just checking my phone. Somebody messaged me about something. Alright, we're good.
Movie. Dumbest movie you can.
Oh, somebody's a little insecure because some people have opinions that don't fit what he thinks they should have.
Could ever see. So we got to be bold in these last days. Bold as lions. I was talking to this woman that had a mask on. Still, today she had a mask on.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming he means it's a COVID mask. Like, when I do tissue culture in my hood, I have a mask on, and that's because I don't want to be breathing onto my culture. That actually reduces, if I block my face with a face mask, I reduce the contamination rate of my cultures. I assume that that's not what he's talking about here.
This year, she had a mask on. Still. And so I politely asked her, did you get COVID?
I didn't get COVID.
And she said, yes, twice. I said, did you get the vaccine? She said, yes, I even got the booster. What?
So remember that the vaccine doesn't 100% prevent COVID infection. It's more like 93% effective. So there's still going to be millions of people who catch COVID even though they've been vaccinated.
What the heck is wrong with these people? I said, why are you wearing a mask? Can't you, if you're wearing a mask, you believe it protects you.
No, it protects other people in case she's sick with COVID.
I know everything just goes through the mask. Look at this beautiful God's lake. And she said to me, well, nothing's 100%.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's how statistics works. If the COVID masks prevent, or reduce COVID infection rates by even, 2 or 3%, that's millions of people who aren't passing through hospitals because they're sick with COVID and potentially dying. Now, the current science is that the masks, haven't been as effective at preventing COVID, infection rates as we had originally hoped for them to. It doesn't mean they're useless. It just means that their efficacy is not, 100%. I think it's like 80 some. I don't know. But the point is, it's a numbers game. I play the numbers game all the time when I'm doing like orchid work, for example. I will sow tens of thousands of orchid seeds, even though I only want to have a couple hundred orchid seedlings. And the reason I sow so many orchid seeds is because a certain percentage of those seeds aren't going to germinate, a certain percentage of those cultures are going to contaminate. When they become protocorms, a certain percentage of those protocorms are just going to fail to grow. So if I want 100 orchids, I need to plant, 2,000 or so orchid seeds in order to get 100 orchids out of it. And it depends on the orchid species. Some orchid species are actually, if you want 100 orchids, you plant 150 seeds. But, you also have to remember, when I do, orchid stuff in tissue culture, which I do a lot, I get higher contamination rates than like a tissue culture lab because I'm not a tissue culture lab. I live in a house and I have, thousands of animals, mostly roaches, and they have microbes that get into the cultures and this and that. And so, if I were in like a clean room, for example, where like every air outlet is HEPA filtered and this and that, yeah, sure, I'd probably have, much, much lower contamination rate. I only get like 10 to 15% contamination rates, with most of the things I do, which is pretty good given my setup, but it's still a numbers game.
So their mentality is, I just have to keep increasing the odds that nothing makes it through. And I said, how long are you going to be wearing that mask?
Why does it bother you so much? Oh, God, I'm so tired. Food poisoning really sucks, guys. I don't get food poisoning that often. I had Giardia earlier this year. Now I have some kind of food poisoning, and it just knocks the wind right out of you. Like, I cleared my Giardia infection back in June, and, it wasn't until, like, the end of August that I was able to go through a day without taking a nap. And, I'm a fairly healthy individual, physically speaking, and I still had to take naps, midday. And, I'm just exhausted, and I think part of it's just, like, the nonstop diarrhea is really taking a toll, and whatever I'm sick with is really, I had a fever yesterday and into earlier this morning. It's like, God, I'm tired.
It's ridiculous. And she said, well, probably forever. It's still out there. I go, yeah, but you got it already.
Okay, but, she got a version that, may be less virulent than the next version that comes out.
You've got natural immunity, God's immunity, which is better than any fake vaccine immunity.
Like, fake vaccine as opposed to what kind of vaccine? This guy just doesn't understand how vaccines work. And then my nose is running. Bear with me for a sec. God damn it. Alright, let's see what other videos this guy's got, because... Okay, let's see 10 reasons why Joe Biden needs to be impeached.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, join me today as we take this epic motorcycle. It's a street legal racing bike, and we're going to go through the top 10 reasons why the American people want President Biden impeached.
I think the majority of the American people don't actually want him impeached.
So let's go. And as you guys know, you're not going to be able to watch this on YouTube because YouTube actually is working for the Democrat National Committee trying to get Biden reelected. And so any videos you do that you criticize Biden, they do not like those videos. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go right here below this video to Rumble, my Rumble video page, because YouTube would deem what I'm about to say controversial on their site. So I'll see you right here below on Rumble. We're going to go through 10 reasons
I need a Red Bull.
why Joe Biden should be impeached. And some of them are illegal reasons, some of them are moral reasons. And so I'll see you here.
I mean, impeachment is really just concerned with the legal things.
At Rumble. And
Alright, how much you want to bet he's going to say something about Joe Biden's, take on abortion, and that's a reason why Joe Biden should be impeached? How much you want to bet?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, for those of you at Rumble, welcome to free speech. Let's get here on the road first. Kind of gravelly.
That doesn't look like gravel to me.
And let's begin. We're going to get right to it. So number 1 of our top 10 reasons is Biden is going after your children.
How? I mean, he is a Catholic, so I guess in some ways maybe, but...
Yeah, let me adjust the camera. I forgot. We'll do it when we get to a light, because I'm leaning forward a lot, so otherwise you'll just see...
Your mom is leaning... No, I'm just kidding.
This right here. So Biden is going after your children. I can do this no-handed. Bear with
That's what your mom said.
me. There we go. Don't try this at home, kids.
That's also what your mom said.
Biden is going after your children, saying that they're not your children. They're the state's.
What? I've never heard of this.
Even Democrats around the United States, for example, the most Democrat area you could think of, like Chicago, California, they're passing laws that allow the state to do surgery on your kids,
No.
to remove their sexual organs, so they can recruit your children into their sexual perversion of the trans perversion.
That is just not happening. Nobody is coming for cis children, forcing them to be trans and performing surgery on them for that particular end. Like, that's just not happening.
So this is number 1. Let's go through them real quick, and then I'll go through and I'll elaborate. Number 2, Biden is against the Second Amendment. Now, for hundreds of years, the United States has had the Second Amendment, and no problem. But I notice as the Democrats get more and more power, they love to chip away at the Second Amendment.
So, there are limits to every constitutional amendment. Now, this guy wants hard limits on free speech. For sure. That's the First Amendment, where, you are allowed to say whatever the fuck you want, and this guy wants certain forms of free expression and free speech and freedom of religion to be stifled in America. I would venture to say this guy's a Christian dominionist, but that's a different matter. Now, the thing is, there are limits to the Second Amendment. So, the Second Amendment just gives you the right to have a gun. It doesn't give you the right to use the gun. It also presupposes that the gun is used in a responsible manner. Now, I agree banning guns isn't going to fix all the problems. I think we need to have better cultural shifts where people aren't inclined to be violent and people, are given proper mental health help for violent urges and this and that. And I think that, solving the gun problem is not going to just be as simple as banning assault rifles, although I think that is, one area where we definitely would have some benefit seen for doing that.
And I'm going to tell you the reason why the Democrats want to get rid of your right to defend yourself. Trust me, here's the reason.
I don't trust you, but...
If the government wants to get rid of your rights to defend yourself, they're afraid because they're going to do something that would get you and the American public so angry that we would say it's treason, and we would use those guns to take back our government. This is why they want to go ahead and get rid of your gun rights. They want to do something.
I have a question. A serious question. Do you think that most members of the government would be exempt from the gun ban? Do you think that's how that works?
That would get you so angry, and it's so evil that what the government would want to do that they would that you would probably use your guns to rise up like they did with the Boston Tea Party and rebel against a tyrannical government. Thank God for the Republicans protecting the Second Amendment. Now, another thing too, Another reason why Biden should be impeached, they hung the LGBT sinful, perverted, homosexual flag over the White House.
That doesn't mean he should be impeached. What the fuck?
And he actually came out and made a proclamation honoring the sin. That's right, I said it. It's a sin.
So is eating pork.
Of the LGBTQ crap. And he's obsessed with it. He, again, is wanting to take control of your children and convert them into trans and have them join the LGBTQ group.
That's not what he's doing. Have you noticed how his two sons are both cis? I mean, one of them's not really alive any longer.
Do you know that, I couldn't believe it. I was watching on the news, and this guy, he's a guy, and he had fake breast put in. He goes to the Biden's honoring of the LGBTQ, this big rally, and takes his top off and has these fake breasts. And
do you have any evidence that actually happened?
So what it really is they just want to move away from the natural purpose of a man and woman that God originally intended, that a man should marry a woman. So he's obsessed with the LGBTQ. He made a proclamation. He was celebrating Pride Month. Now, don't you find it interesting that Pride Month has the word demon within it? Go ahead and check it out. Pride Month. It's all demonic. Let's go with the next one here on the list. What is the next one on this list?
I don't know. You were the one that came up with the list.
Oh, yeah. Another reason why people want Biden impeached is he's got dementia.
Okay. First of all, no, he doesn't. But secondly, that's not a reason to impeach. You don't impeach somebody just because they have dementia. It's not a crime to have dementia.
Let's be honest. The guy has got dementia.
Okay, even if that's the case, that's not reason to impeach him.
You know how the Constitution, the Declaration, you know how
there's nothing in the Declaration about impeaching people with dementia.
The wonderful words, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator. You notice the...
Okay, when they say Creator, they don't necessarily mean God. Creator can be natural forces. They said Creator, they didn't say God. Keep that in mind.
Founders were believers in God, right?
To some extent, sure, but that doesn't mean they want Christianity to be the state religion or any of that shit.
Well, you know what? Biden, he's got dementia. He was...
Okay, so what?
Going to quote that, what I just quoted. I mean, here I can shift gears.
You're not even using a turn signal.
I can talk, I can lean, I can pay attention to the GPS and still get the quote right. Biden was saying, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that the thing, and he calls it the thing.
So what? That's not saying he has dementia, but who gives a shit?
Biden has dementia. Just that reason alone, he needs to be impeached.
Does this guy think that impeachment and removal from office are the same thing? Look, there have been presidents who have left office, resigned, or whatever because of health reasons. That's not the same thing as them getting impeached.
We do not want a guy with dementia leading America while China and Russia are using military across this globe.
remember that America has military across this globe as well?
Now, he's weak, and what do I got here? Well, physically weak and feeble.
Okay. That's not a reason to impeach somebody, though.
He's very weak and feeble. Even that reason alone, we should not have Biden as president. All right, let's see what's next on the list here. So we had weak and feeble. Oh yeah, he's now known as the worst president ever. You know, Jimmy Carter.
Okay. Even if that were the case, that's not a reason to impeach him.
Held that booby prize, the worst president ever. And now, Carter finally is able. He's not.
Isn't he in hospice care now or something?
Not rolling around in his grave. I know Carter's in hell for sure for the things he did. But Biden is now officially the worst president in world history. Now, don't you find it interesting that both are Democrats?
No, I don't find that interesting at all.
All right. That's another reason why he should be impeached. He is purposely trying to get illegals over here.
So real quick. Every country has an incentive to get immigration and things like that. Because countries do better economically when there are more people stimulating the economy, and immigration is one of those things that does a really good job at stimulating the economy.
To vote Democrat. He doesn't care if some of these people come in that are rapists, are thieves. Do you know a big problem throughout the United States are Mexicans that come over here illegally, and they're handymen, right? And some of them are good, but a large amount of them will go prey on elderly people, get their money to do work on the house, and just go back to Mexico.
Well, I mean, if they're doing work on the house, they're not preying on people. They're going into a house and they're getting paid to do a job, and they're doing the job, and then they leave. Who cares if they travel to another country to do work and make money there, and then they go back home somewhere else? You know, I know a lot of people. I live in Colorado right now, which is, you know, not the best place to live, partially because of how expensive it is. But I know a lot of people who work in Colorado but live like up in Wyoming, because it's like a third of the cost to live in Wyoming as it is in anywhere in Colorado. That's not a bad thing.
And there's nothing you can do. They're in Mexico. And I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of that happening. Let's see what the next one is.
I mean, I still don't see why it's like. Is he saying there's a problem with somebody living in Mexico and then getting paid in the United States to do work in the United States? Why does he give two fucks about somebody doing that? What's the problem with doing that?
Another one is he wanted to add, what was it, $80 billion to the IRS for weapons, ammo.
Wait, didn't you just say he wants to take away guns and all that shit? So now he's putting money into guns and
more staff to extract money from the American people. And I think, what was it, 87,000 new IRS agents. And it was $80 billion. Thank God the Republicans were able to get rid of that. You know, the IRS is there for one reason, to get money from you.
Okay, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
IRS just a very sinful, evil organization. I've seen actual stories of women, their husbands die, and then they're dying of cancer on the bed in their house, and they can't pay some of the taxes. Here they're dying, and the IRS just comes in and takes her out while she's in the bed.
Wait, what? When you say they take her out, are they like putting her out of her misery, or are they just pulling her out of the house? Like, this stuff isn't happening. My mother died in a bed in her house of cancer, and no IRS agents showed up.
Just shameful. And here's another reason why there's no excuse, and I don't mean to be rude here, but if you're a Democrat, you are the problem. You are the problem.
How? Please explain how.
Do you know all the Democrats voted for the billions of dollars and the, 87,000, IRS agents?
What do you mean all Democrats voted? Are you literally saying that last election day or voting day or whatever, there was like a ballot with the proposition and people had to vote yay or nay on it? Because, that happens a lot at the local level, but not a lot at the national level. But I don't remember getting any ballots in the mail about, anything IRS related that I had to vote on.
All the Democrats, party line, they just voted down the middle. It's like a religion to these Democrats.
You're supposed to pull over for emergency vehicles.
It's a religion. And some people, these people, some are your family members. Every family's got these retards that are Democrat. And they just look, and if there's a D next to the person's name, they'll vote for them. I'm telling you, Biden needs to be impeached. How is he going to make it? How is he going to make it even to the presidency, to run for president again?
Are you asking, is he on, death's door?
I'm doing this in 2023. How is he going to make it to 2024? He's tripping up airplanes.
Okay, he is an old guy. Now, I agree, we need to have age limits on people in office. I agree, we need to have, more youngins in the Oval Office than, these old people. I agree with that. But that doesn't mean we impeach Biden.
You see at the graduation ceremony, he's tripping there, he's falling off bikes.
Okay. Most old people have a hard time with walking. That doesn't mean they're, having a hard time with thinking. It just means they're having a hard time, it's kind of comical, but, geez, this guy's being unreasonable.
This is, if he wasn't so evil, I would say that this is elder abuse, what they're doing to him. The good news, the majority of Democrats do not want Biden as president.
How are you getting this information? I know Biden has pretty good approval ratings. Now, I don't know who the Democratic candidates for the nomination are. I have to look into that. I got back 2 days ago from the field where I was in West Bumblefuck, USA with no internet, no cell service, yada yada. I just got back and I've been sick with food poisoning, so I haven't really had the time or the opportunity to look through the Democratic National Convention, this and that. Will I do that in the coming weeks? Sure. But it's not at the top of my list, Once I'm done with this video, I'm gonna go clean out my garage. I'm gonna feed some frogs. I'm gonna, do the laundry, blah, blah, blah.
But just remember, if you're a Democrat, for God's sakes, vote for Trump. Vote for Trump.
Trump is the same age as Biden. He's an old guy too.
And we can get some normalcy back to the presidency. We could have a better economy, a stronger military. Seriously.
Isn't this guy worried that the military is gonna come after us?
Vote for Trump. I think the number one reason why Democrats don't like Trump is they're jealous of him. Here's the guy.
What? Like, why would I be jealous of some fat criminal who's in his, early 80s that, like, womanizes people and blah.
That is capitalism defined. He has successful business.
He filed for bankruptcy like 10 times.
He's confident. He's bold. He ran on the pro-life ticket, so they don't like him because he doesn't like the killing of babies. And that's another thing. Let's add some more things why Biden needs to be impeached. He talks about killing a baby and he says it's reproductive health.
Yes. Now, I have a question. Are all these pro-life activists out there vegans? Because if they're not, I can't take their pro-life stance seriously. Not just because of the animal abuse, but producing, animal agriculture is really bad for humans as well. You can't be pro-life when your dietary choices are causing harm to other human beings.
Reproductive means reproducing,
which some people shouldn't be doing.
It doesn't mean murdering. And this is why you have these school shooters, these atheists. You notice most of the school shooters are atheists?
That is patently untrue. Adam Lanza was, I believe, Lutheran. The Columbine shooters were both Christians. I mean, they did go on some, nihilism dark websites. A lot of these school shootings are happening in Christian states, in Christian schools. It's not atheists that are committing the school shootings. There are far fewer school shootings, or really any kind of violence, in majority atheist areas.
The trans, that girl that wanted to be a boy that just shot up the school, she was atheist trans.
This person went to a Christian school. I mean, that doesn't mean they're not an atheist, but you gotta give me some evidence that they were actually an atheist.
Do you know Ted Kaczynski or whatever, the Unabomber? They found out that he fantasized about wearing women's clothes.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean everybody who wants to wear women's clothes are going to become Unabombers. I mean, he put the Una in Unabomber. He was the only one of them.
Actually was going to see a psychiatrist to see if he could get the operation, get it chopped off.
Again, they don't chop the penis off. They basically cut down the middle and they turn it inside out and they cram it in. It's, I don't want to be too graphic here, but it's a little more complicated than just vroom.
And no trans should be allowed to have a firearm. Seriously.
I mean, the number of trans shooters relative to the number of cis shooters is lower than the number of trans people in the general population compared to the number of cis people in the general population.
If I was president, I would say no trans, no homosexual is getting a firearm. I mean, if they're confused and don't know what sex they are, why would we give them a firearm? I wouldn't even let them drive a car. They're confused. Could you see them driving a car? They don't even know what sex they are. No. So please, support the impeachment effort that is now going on against.
There's really not an impeachment effort going on against Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Oh, not to mention another thing, the millions and millions he got from China and other countries by taking bribes, and they have the evidence of it.
Okay, then show us the evidence.
Do you know that he and his son, Biden and Hunter...
Okay. Hunter Biden is not the president. We need to stop harping on anything Hunter Biden does, because Trump's kids have also done a lot of unethical shit. Hunter Biden is not Joe Biden.
They created these phony LLCs and corporations that do zero business. There's no business that they have. At least,
I mean, you're allowed to have a corporation that's it's not doing business. It's not a good idea, but it's not illegal.
With Trump, you could say he has business. He has hotels and the Trump name and all this, a clothing line. The Bidens don't have any of that, yet they made billions with these fake LLCs, even putting little kids, their little grandkids' name on it. It's sick. Let us hope and pray that Biden gets impeached, because he sure as hell, I don't know how he's going to make it.
All right, let's see. All right. Five very good arguments for God, Christianity, Jesus, resurrection. Alright, we will keep going at this later, I think. This is going to be I think this should just be part one. Alright, well that was quite entertaining. As you can see, I've changed into my pajamas. We got most of the way done with the garage, then it got dark, and so things are looking a little bit better here. I'm not feeling as sick now, which is good. But stay tuned for part 2, and obviously if this is your cup of tea, be sure to like, subscribe, yada yada. I've been pedantic, semi-romantic, and pretty darn far from the Atlantic, and I'll see y'all in the next one.